Hey everybody, I'm Jim Barry, and this is Miami Life, the show that brings you the stories making waves in Miami-Dade and Broward. We also get up close to the people who help make this community so unique. This week, we're going to take you to a sanctuary for some of the magnificent and fragile native species that call South Florida home. Also, we have a revealing chat with Miami Dolphins player Alec Ingold about his mission to improve the lives of foster children. All that's coming up, but we start with the subject no property owner in South Florida can get around, and that is property taxes. Florida lawmakers are mulling a variety of proposals to give folks a break. There are plans to lower property taxes. The governor has even talked about eliminating them altogether. Sounds good, but are these ideas practical, wise, or realistic? And would cutting our taxes just create new problems? Ted Scouten reports.
When Scott Irons bought his home in Fort Lauderdale's Riverside Park neighborhood 2 years ago, he knew he'd face a pretty hefty tax bill.
And I believe it's 35 or 36,000 a year right now in property tax.
Raising 2 kids, Irons began looking for options.
Both my brothers have moved out of state to places where the taxes are much more reasonable. I would consider that. I was considering it.
Now he said he has hope, knowing the state legislature is looking at proposals to significantly reduce property tax.
Well, I think that anything that falls short of eliminating property taxes on homesteaded properties would be a disservice.
The proposals would not impact school tax and would be for homesteaded properties. Some of the proposals include eliminating property tax, phasing it out over 10 years, making an exemption for seniors, taxing only 25% of the assessed value, or giving a $100,000 exemption.
This is tangible in that it's the sidewalks you walk on, the streets you drive on, the parks you visit with your kids. This is all part of what property taxes make possible.
Arlene Bornstein is with the city of Hollywood. Hollywood, like all cities, get a huge chunk of their general fund from property tax. For example, that figure is $193 million in Hollywood, $310 million in Miami Beach, and $251 million in Fort Lauderdale.
And that's what goes to pay for city services like fire and police departments, public works, parks departments, even pensions.
Now cities are grappling with how to make up that revenue to pay for services. Homeowners have some ideas.
Because not every home is homesteaded. Out of my 4, only 1 is homesteaded, so they'd still be collecting 75% of what they're collecting now, at least on my family.
You don't have to completely get rid of it, but at least reduce it and make it really less for like homeowners and senior citizens.
If the Florida legislature approves one of those proposals, Florida voters would have the final say in November of next year. In Fort Lauderdale, Ted Scouten, CBS News, Miami.
We'll see where that lands. Thanks, Ted. All right, a while back we told you about the uneasy relationship on the road between South Florida drivers and the growing number of cyclists. Well, there's also frustration brewing over e-bikes and e-scooters. These electric vehicles are becoming very popular, but some people believe they're kind of dangerous. Austin Carter explains how some local municipalities are beginning to take action.
It doesn't matter where you live. You've likely seen things like this. E-scooters in traffic, right in the flow of cars. Safety, the common concern.
Try to keep out of their way whenever I see them coming.
They really shouldn't be on the roads because it causes a lot of delay in traffic and they could get killed by a car.
Over the last year, we've seen a string of e-bike and e-scooter crashes. Last year, a woman was killed in an e-bike crash in Key Biscayne. That prompted a temporary, now permanent ban on motorized scooters and electric bikes. In Hollywood, police issuing this warning over the summer for those trying to use them on the popular Broadwalk. They're also banned on all city streets and sidewalks.
I almost got hit while crossing the street.
I think they should have their own pathway, just like the bicycles.
Florida law sees e-bikes like regular bicycles. You don't need a license, insurance, or registration. However, the law allows cities to take restrictions into their own hands. Many are doing so.
There has been a lot of accidents. There is a lot of complaints from drivers.
These videos captured in Doral, an e-scooter cruising in the middle of the street, another making a left-hand turn right in front of traffic and occupying lanes right along with cars. Last week, the city instituted some rules for operators of e-scooters and e-bikes. Operators of all ages are allowed to use them on city streets, sidewalks, and bike paths, provided they are operated only where bicycles are lawfully permitted. Mayor Christy Fraga expects other cities will follow suit.
We will see more cities create their own legislation and enforce. I think we were reasonable.
And other cities have made their own rules instead of banning them outright. This map of Miami Beach shows where they're not allowed. This includes all city sidewalks and areas like the Beach Walk north of Ocean and South Point Park. At Sunshine E-Ride in Pompano Beach, owner Thomas Victorin shares this advice for everyone. Follow the rules, and wherever you ride, keep your head on a swivel.
My head is always spinning, watching around like a 360 camera. You have to be cautious. Cars will not see you.
And when we get behind the wheel, the best advice is to treat people on e-bikes and e-scooters like people on bicycles. You've got to share the road with them and be on the lookout. In Doral, I'm Austin Carter, CBS News, Miami.
Austin, thank you. Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We wanted to tell you about a PhD student at the University of Miami who was diagnosed with the disease while she was in her mid-20s. She found her strength to get through treatment in the gym. Our Lauren Pastrana has her story.
Strength is something Lachey Roll prides herself in. The competitive powerlifter needed it in a whole new way when at age 26, she found out she had breast cancer.
So I was in the middle of my PhD in cancer prevention research, funny enough, and that kind of led me to figuring out that the lump that I had in my breast could potentially be cancerous.
She was diagnosed with positive HER2-negative breast cancer, invasive ductal carcinoma. The news came as a shock, not just because of her age, but because there was no family history of the disease.
At age 26, it was just insane for me. I didn't think it was realistically possible.
But with disbelief came resolve. She fought with the strength she finds inside the gym, releasing the weight of chemotherapy, radiation, and a mastectomy. Dr. Tracy Crane is Roll's mentor. She's also the director of digital health and lifestyle medicine for cancer survivorship. The two women turned her real-life experience into a research study.
We learned so much because she was committed to what she was talking about with exercise, and then having the science behind it and documenting it in a rigorous fashion. It allowed us to learn a lot.
The team at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center designed a strength training program that lined up with her chemotherapy cycles. High-intensity days of squats, bench presses, and deadlifts were scheduled before her chemo infusions. More moderate days were scheduled mid-cycle, and her recovery days were slated after her infusions.
She was able to continue on, and the benefit to the research she did was that she really was able to document, as I mentioned, rigorously and keep track of her symptoms when she had her chemotherapy and her treatment.
Roll maintained the majority of her strength, and she inspired others with her social media posts. They're now inspiring her to keep pushing.
You have a lot of strength inside you, so you just have to pull it out and keep going.
Great advice, and Lauren, thank you for sharing her story with us. All right, up next on Miami Live, for Miami Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold, giving back to the community is personal. We'll talk with him about how he's using his football notoriety to make a difference in the lives of South Florida kids. Plus this.
So yeah, if you see right here, this is where he got the pin yesterday. So he's got this nice splint on that helps keep that pin in place and everything nice and immobilized.
The Pelican Harbor Seabird Station has been rescuing South Florida's injured wildlife for decades. I saw it firsthand after a random incident that led me there. That story when we come back. We're back in Miami Live. One of our favorite recurring franchises here is Person of Interest, where we profile people who stand out for who they are and also for what they do. Well, this week, that person is Miami Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold. When he's not on the field, he is dedicating his time to help kids who need a boost. From his summer football camp in Wisconsin through his foundation and a new initiative called Gifts in Gold. And for Alec Ingold, this mission is quite personal.
Gifts in Gold is the second year campaign we're doing just to help with our groups down here in South Florida. So there's a number of different group homes we like to support, and wanted to tie it into a season-long campaign with the Dolphins offense. Tie it into every 300 yards we score, we're able to gift a kickstart kit, is what we call them. So shoes, essential supplies, stuff that just helps kids be kids and kind of take the stresses of what they're dealing with off their shoulders a little bit, and we'll give them all to them in December during the holidays. So it's a fun way to pair everything together.
Gifts Ingold, that's the...
I wish I could have came up with that myself, we use AI, you figured it out, but it's all good.
And it's to help foster kids.
Youth and foster care. I was adopted myself, and the struggles that some of these kids have to go to, it's a huge part of my foundation, my family's story, and we want to be vulnerable with that story and share it and kind of shed some light on those that are looking to be adopted, have been adopted, looking for their identity, looking in the mirror and kind of trusting themselves to be the best version of themselves. So any little way we can help these kids out, man, I'm all about it. If they got a new pair of shoes from our Kickstart Kicks, maybe they get to open up about how they love Air Jordans and what their favorite NBA team is, and they just get to be kids again. Like, that's a huge focus here in finding some normalcy, while also building those relationships and those conversations that can help jumpstart whatever may be needed.
You were adopted at birth, so you had family structure from the get-go.
100%.
But yet you still had something, a voice inside of you, wondering who you are and where were your birth parents?
I definitely had that family structure of support, and we could listen and talk. But at the end of the day, I didn't look like my parents. You know, I'm mixed race and was raised by a couple of amazing human beings that are still married today up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I always looked different. I was taller than them by second grade. And just those visual things kind of stuck with me for quite a while. So I can't relate to those that have been in foster care and have moved every 8 weeks for the past 10 years and haven't had that family structure, the quote-unquote normal. But I can relate to them in the fact of identity and the visual aspect of kind of feeling isolated or on your own journey or on your own path, and trying to remove those barriers and build bridges through different campaigns and initiatives like this. I think that's what it's all about. Community and communication can help build those bridges together.
Did you ever meet your birth parents?
I met my birth mom in third grade. The wildest thing, like, I don't really remember too much from it. Like, I don't know if it was just can't put a face to the name or what. I knew it was a big deal at the time. It was very cool to see, and I'm glad that it was so cordial, right? Like, my parents opened up their door to the woman that gave birth to me, and we were able to sit down and talk and figure out what's been going on in the last 8, 9, 10 years of our lives. And I think it was really cool to see that our adoption story was how it was supposed to be.
Why do you think it's important that you use your platform to get this message out, Alec?
Man, I think the NFL, the Miami Dolphins, it's a huge platform. And growing up around an NFL team, I always saw those guys as superheroes, man. On Sundays, like, go to church and then go watch the Packers play, and it was like larger than life, man. And to understand in a full circle capacity that responsibility is now on my shoulders, I want to do the absolute best I can to make sure that I'm taking the helmet off. You don't just see the number 30 in the Dolphins logo. You see the humans behind the face mask. You see the people that are working in the process that we put into week by week. It's not just Sundays. It's Monday through Saturday as well. And that's something I didn't realize growing up, but that's something I want these kids in this next generation to see, the hard work, the dedication, the process over the results, rather than the Instagram highlight reels that are popping off right now.
What have you learned from some of these foster kids that you've interacted with?
Man, we had a financial literacy money mini camp this past summer, and we had a kid share his adoption story, why he had 2 last names in front of a bunch of kids, and it was very hard for him. But the courage that it took to share that with a group of people that, yeah, you might have had conversation in the lunchroom, but you hadn't had a conversation like that yet. We definitely focus on developing those soft skills, shaking somebody's hand, and for him to have the confidence and the courage to speak his truth. You're definitely able to see the light bulbs go off of, oh, I can be myself. I don't have to be anybody else. I can own who I want to be, what my dreams are, and I can go chase it. So you can learn a lot about courage, curiosity from these kids, and giving them the avenues and the platforms to do so.
To the larger community, what would you say that South Florida can do to make life better for foster kids?
I think we're a lot more similar than we may seem. Everyone has unique family backgrounds. You might not know your next door neighbor also has an adoption story, your aunt or your uncle or some form of kinship, and just opening up your heart and having real conversations with people, leading with that love and positive intent. I think being able to have those conversations can allow for people that may be struggling with family dynamics to find adoption is an option, and share more love in this world.
And to Pat and Chris Ingold, who plucked you out of space and said, you are now ours. What do you say to them even today?
Man, I thank them. They've given everything I could ever ask for. And it's cool, you know, when I got older, I had that conversation, like, thank you. Thank you for giving me everything I could have wanted, the foundation to grow up in. And they were both teary-eyed, and they're like, thank you for giving us everything we could have ever asked for. I think that's what family's all about, giving without the intent to receive, unconditional love. And that was definitely our upbringing, our story, and we're on a mission to make sure that happens in South Florida.
That says it all. Alec Ingold, you're doing great work. Keep it up. And you can make a difference in the lives of these kids also. To learn how you can contribute, go to giftsingold.givesmart.com. All right, still to come. What happens when some of the extraordinary seabirds that call Miami home get hurt? We visit a special place that treats these creatures so they can spread their wings and fly again. Welcome back. All right, when it comes to food, the survey says no city in America can top Miami. Miami was tabbed the best foodie city in the nation by Wallet Hub. The Magic City finished first among 180 cities, ahead of places like Portland, Oregon, and San Francisco. Rankings were determined by factors including the wide variety of restaurants available here, as well as events like the South Beach Food and Wine Festival. Miami also ranked high for people who love to cook at home. And there's a price to be being paid for being the top foodie city, however, because Miami ranked near the bottom of the list for affordability. That is going to do it for this week's Miami Life. We'll see you every Thursday for brand new episodes at 6:30 on our stream. You can also watch Miami Life Sundays at 1:30 p.m. on TV 33, and all of our episodes are available on demand on our YouTube channel. I'm Jim Barry. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you again.